Well, good evening, everyone. It is Monday, June the 12th. I'd like to call to order this regular meeting of Town Council. The time is 7 p.m. I'd like to welcome all of the councilors present. I'd welcome CAO Jeff Baker, Municipal Clerk Kim Casely, Chief Sutherland of the Police Department. Welcome to everyone. And before we start, I want to also welcome all those who are watching, our online guests. Welcome to our Town Council meeting. You will find all our agendas and reports can be found on the internet on our website. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is the unceded Mi'kmaq territory and is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respects to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this island for over 12,000 years, past, present, and future. Council, the agenda is before you this evening. There are no additions or deletions that I'm aware of, and if there's no other comments, I would entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as circulated. So moved by Deputy Mayor Spencer, seconded by Councillor Doucette. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Do we have any declarations of conflict of interest on any of the topics that are being discussed tonight? Hearing none, we'll move right along to the adoption of the minutes of the previous meeting. Minutes of May the 8th, 2023 regular meeting are before you. Are there any errors or omissions in the meeting minutes of May the 8th? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt them as circulated. So moved by Councillor Toombs, seconded by Councillor Doucette. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Additionally, we have meeting minutes of a special meeting that was held on May the 23rd. Those minutes are before you. Are there any errors or omissions in those minutes? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the May 23rd special meeting minutes. Moved by Councillor McCrae, seconded by Deputy Mayor Spencer. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Good. All right, business arising from the minutes. Is there any business arising from the minutes of May the 8th regular meeting? Hearing none, we'll move right along to the May 23rd special meeting. Any business arising from those minutes? Hearing none, we'll move on to reports. The first report is the Chief Administrative Officer's report. That report is before you, Council. Any questions on the Chief Administrative Officer's report? Councillor Doucette.
Thanks, Your Worship. I was just noticing for, number 3, the senior center. Do we ever look at replacing those outside fixtures on that building? I just noticed like they're the bulbs and they're exposed. You know what I mean? That's just something maybe we'll look at. I just noticed it the other day when we were with the kids there.
Light fixtures?
Yeah, on the exterior of the building.
Yeah. Mr. Baker will put that on his list. I know we're looking at trying to do some work on the outside of the building, so that may be part of the plan. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Anything further, Council? Councillor Mann.
No, thank you, Your Worship. I was just looking at number 19, I guess, with the chief here on the 24/7 policing. Just wondering how that's going along.
Chief, would you like to go to one of the mics and give us a bit of report?
Yeah, the police report is going very well. We're on the street 24 hours now every day, and it's gone well, really well. I'm pleased with it. It's nice to know that when I go home at night that we've got cars going all night now, and they check a lot of vehicles. The speeding, early morning speeding now is pretty much to where it should be. So we haven't had to issue a lot of tickets. So the presence has been good. So very happy with it so far.
Great. Thanks, Chief. Any other questions, Council? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the CAO's report for May 2023. So moved by Councillor Toombs, seconded by Councillor Doucette. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. All right, let's look at the Fire Department statistical report. That report is before you. Are there any questions on the report, Council? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to receive and adopt that report as presented. So moved by Deputy Mayor Spencer, seconded by Councillor McCrae. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. The next report is the Police Department statistical report. That report is before you. Are there any questions on the report? Councillor Glant.
Thank you, Worship. I don't have any questions, just a couple of comments. First, I guess just that means the chief's here regarding the bike helmet situation. Is where is that at, and how are you getting along with it?
Okay, so we've intercepted 6 kids that were causing some grief around town. I met with one of both parents of one of them, and that seems to have settled that down. We've given away 4 helmets, and the checkbox will be in our May report. So we have added it to the things we do. But I saw some today, but tied up with some other things. Some adults driving around that should be wearing helmets, but we'll catch them, or get them straightened out. There was a lot of problems in the subway area, but that seems to have gone with the bikes. So don't hesitate to let me know, or anyone know if you're seeing things. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Chief. Councillor Glant.
Thank you, Chief. I haven't actually seen anybody myself lately. That's why I was asking. I thought it seemed to be good from my viewing in the last little bit. My other comment on it was later on in the meeting here, I see there's a request in for some funding regarding bicycle safety. Now, I'm not sure how that will go, but maybe when we talk about that, it might be something that we could talk about regarding bicycle helmets at that point in time too. It is a bicycle safety program, it looks like, and just wondering if you don't know about it, if you could just maybe read about it, and that might be, if we decide on it, it might be something that we could bring forward to help get more people, make more people aware about wearing helmets.
I'm not sure what you guys had before you tonight, so after you peruse through it, I'll look at it tomorrow and go from there, I guess. Is that what you like?
Yeah, Chief, I'm not sure. There's a program that is being put on by, maybe I'll ask, Kim, can you give a bit of it, because you're probably going to leave, are you, Chief?
Well, I can stay if you want.
Can you stay?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, if you want to stay, if you're going to stay till the end of it, we'll try.
Yeah, sure.
We'll discuss it
No
then.
problem.
All right.
No
Good.
problem.
Great. Thanks. All right. There's nothing else, Chief.
Okay. Okay. So this Saturday is our bicycle rodeo at the arena. We're going to start registering kids at 8:30, and the rodeo starts at 9. So I'm looking for some help if we can get. I know Bonnie, you plan to help. So I need some judges and some people to help with the barbecue. The credit union's going to be there to help with the barbecue, and but judges are always nice to have. So
Just a question on the barbecue. What barbecue are you planning on using?
the one that's at the rink.
Because that one was booked by the Kensington United Church quite a while ago for their
I didn't know.
yard sale tomorrow.
So
Do we have 2?
is it when is that the yard sale?
It's tomorrow, or it's Saturday, same time.
Oh, same time?
And this was booked, they booked that a long time ago.
Okay, I didn't know that because I spoke to Robert. He said he'd have it ready. So
Yeah. No, they're using the one that's the one they booked, yeah.
I'll have to see if I can get some barbecues together.
We should be, go ahead.
We have a couple of smaller ones too.
Yeah.
Okay,
We
all
should be able to work around it. I know they had booked that one. It's on the book, on the schedule, so.
Yeah, that's fine. So anyway, if there's anybody who can help us out on Saturday morning, it'd be much appreciated. We're not going to do it inside because of the renovations at the rink, but we're going to be out in the skateboard park. We looked at it today. There'll be 5 checkpoint stations, and one of the slower ones is doing the bikes at the first for the safety check. So rain or shine, yeah, we have to do it. Right now, we're at 59 bikes donated. So
Wow.
yeah, it's wow.
Wow.
So and it could go to 61. I'm just waiting on 2 letters that I sent out a little while ago, and if we get to 61, that's pretty darn good. It's really good at 59. So
Everybody's going to have a new bike up there.
so we'll be busy on Tuesday morning, Your
Yes.
Worship.
All right, well, I plan to be there too, so,
Okay, appreciate it. I'll probably
and I'll-
maybe put you at the safety checkpoint because you run that last.
yeah, I got a little experience with it.
Yeah.
Usually Deputy Mayor Spencer's the one that's helping me on it, but this year he says he's going to be away.
I'll be there for like.
Oh, will you?
Oh, great.
Oh, perfect.
Great, thank you.
What was it you're going to miss then? Oh, right, that's all right. Just don't mind me. I forgot what he said. I did listen. Anyway, council, if there's nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adopt the report, the police department statistical report to the end of April. So moved by Councillor Toombs, seconded by Deputy Mayor Spencer. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, council. All right, let's move right along to the development permit summary report. That report is before you. Are there any questions? You'll note that we are now over $6 million in development permits this year, and more coming. If there are no questions, I would entertain a motion to receive that report to the, I guess it's to the June to date, June the 12th. So moved by Deputy Mayor Spencer, seconded by Councillor Doucette. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, council. All right, the bills list for the town are before you. Any questions on the bills list? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to receive and pay the bills in the amount of $206,407.26. So moved by Councillor Mann, seconded by Councillor Toombs. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, council. All right, the bills for the water and sewer utility are before you to the end of February. Is that the end of February?
No.
No, that's the end of April. Should say the end of April. And those bills are in the total of $17,099.66. Any questions? Councillor Mann?
Really, kind of a question, but not really regarding the bills, but indirectly, is there any more update on when they might be repairing the turbine?
Just looking for it right now. You're gonna ask.
It's right behind my head, and it's not blowing mosquitoes the right way.
Oh, I see.
They had to order a new fuse box, which should be here between the 14th and 23rd of this month.
Okay,
That's the last I heard.
all right. Councillor Toombs.
Just on the same thing, is it the wiring that ran to the top, it wasn't damaged? Remember, we were wondering if it got twisted. It's okay then, is it?
The wiring was fine and the fuses were fine as well. It was just when the wire wrapped around, it pulled that fuse box right off the wall. Yeah.
All right, any other questions, council? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $17,099.66. So moved by Councillor Toombs, seconded by Councillor Mann. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, the Town of Kensington capital bills to the end of April are before you. Any questions? Councillor or Deputy Mayor Spencer.
Thank you, Your Worship. The freight shed roof, is that able to be claimed with the Fiona damage?
I believe it is. Mr. Baker, do you have the answer to that?
It would be in an insurance claim. Yeah. And if the insurance won't cover it, then we would go to the Fiona claim through the disaster financial assistance.
Any other questions, council? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to pay $870,163.56. So moved by Deputy Mayor Spencer, seconded by Councillor Toombs. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, council. All right, the next is the consolidated summary income statement. That report is before you. Any questions, council, on the summary income statement to the end of April? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to receive and adopt the report. So moved by Councillor Mann, seconded by Councillor Gallant. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, council. The Credit Union Center report is before you. Any questions on the Credit Union Center report? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to receive and adopt that report to the end of April. So moved by Deputy Mayor Spencer, seconded by Councillor Doucette. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. The mayor's report is before you. Are there any questions on the mayor's report? I just wanted to mention that today, it's not in correspondence, so this is probably as good a time as any on the Kish Relay for Life. I received a card from them to the town of Kensington. Thank you for joining the Canadian Cancer Society's Relay for Life at Kish as a sponsor. Thank you for support. Together, we raised over $28,604 to help fund groundbreaking research across all cancer types. Together, we are bigger than cancer. Sincerely, Kish Relay for Life Committee. And they did an excellent job. I was really impressed with the leadership that their school is providing up there. And they had a target of 17,000 and raised over 28,000. So it's quite a successful day. If there are no questions, Councillor Glant.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just on your report there, I was just you mentioned your report about the public meeting coming up on June 19th, next month, a week from tonight, I guess.
Yes.
I just wanted to comment, I think that's a great idea. I've had several people contact me personally since the last presentation, and a couple of them, at least 2 or 3 of them, didn't even realize that this meeting was coming up. And so I think it's great, and we keep everybody aware of it. I think today in my mail I got a letter, I think.
Yeah.
Did that go out to all residents?
It was in the County Line Courier, and it went out to every mailbox or every address in the Kensington Post Office, COB 1MO. I think there was around 1,100 were mailed out, and they went out last week. So they've gone out. So there will be a presentation at this consultation. This is the town's consultation. The last one was the Department of Environment. And there was no presentation. You went in and asked questions. This time there will be actually be a presentation answering, hopefully, a lot of the questions, and hopefully allaying some of the fears, and maybe, who knows, maybe bringing other questions to mind. But I think they've got a good, last I heard they had something like 42 slides. They were saying it's going to be long, and I said, look, it is what it is if we get the full message out, and I would encourage you to make sure everybody and anybody who has any questions or concerns to come in and see what they are actually talking about. It's not, there's a message out there that they keep everybody talks about biomass. It's biomass they're using, but it's pyrolysis is the process, and all biomass facilities are not the same. So I think it's important that everybody understands what exactly is taking, or what exactly they are proposing. We as a town have not made any decision to sell them any lots or anything yet. We haven't made a decision on anything other than to continue to move forward step by step, public consultation, and make sure we're all doing our due diligence and making the right decision for the good of Prince Edward Island, Kensington, and all the residents. So if anybody's listening at home, I hope you're going to join us at the meeting. I expect there'll be a good crowd there. I would hope there will be anyway. All right, any other questions, Council? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the report as presented. So moved by Deputy Mayor Spencer, seconded by Councillor Doucette. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. All right, we are now into the Federation of Prince Edward Island Municipalities report. Councillor Mann.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. I wasn't at the last meeting because I was out of province at my daughter's graduation, but
Wow.
I was re-elected as vice president of the Federation.
Good for you. Congratulations.
in absence. Undefeated.
Undefeated, yes.
Acclaimed.
So there's nothing else other than that most important piece of information.
Yeah, and our June meeting is being postponed until after the calls for elections or seat nominations close on July the 10th, so that we can have a meeting afterwards and bring them to acknowledge them to the board. So.
Okay, good. Councillor McCrae, anything from the Kensington? Oh, sorry, Councillor Gallant, did you have a question or comment?
I'll just add to Councillor Mann's remarks there. We held a brief meeting, the nominating committee there a couple weeks ago, I guess now,
Right.
And there's been several names put forward to fill those vacancies. So as he said, it'll be, I think, July 10th, I think, is closing, isn't it? And then we will have, the Federation will have a meeting to verify those positions, and I'm chair of that part of it. So yeah, that's where it stands right now.
So they'll have a full board at that point in time.
Hopefully, it looks like there's going to be enough people to fill them. There was still one we're looking at, but it sounds like right now that there will be a full board, but
Right.
you never really know till the time comes.
Yeah. Okay, good, great. Thank you. Any other questions? Council McCray, Kensington Area Chamber of Commerce, do you have anything to report?
Thank you, Your Worship. No, I never made last month's meeting due to a death in the family.
Right, all right, thank you, and our sympathies to you and the family. Deputy Mayor Spencer, do you have anything to report on the 55-plus games?
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes. So they have hired someone to work in their office, well, I guess at the Fitplex. I don't know if they've announced the name yet, so I'll not mention the name at the moment. But their wage subsidy was also approved. It's going to start July 3rd for an 8-week period. And the person who's been hired has also offered or negotiated with them to volunteer during the week of the games themselves, since the 8-week will be over before that. I think at the moment that they are taking registrations in Charlottetown, though, until such time as July 3rd rolls around here at the Fitplex. And they're still going to fine-tune the hours that the person will work. I guess the only thing they mentioned was that the schedule they proposed to the PEI 55-plus games office has been approved.
What, pardon me?
The schedule that they've proposed
Yeah.
has been approved.
Oh, good, great. So are all the games, have they got all the games set now, or all the things that are taking place, or are they still working on?
I think they're still working on some of the parts, but everything they were hoping to do is been approved by the society.
Perfect, great. Any questions of Deputy Mayor Spencer? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the Heart of PEI Committee. And actually, I have nothing new to report from the last meeting. My next meeting is actually Wednesday, I believe, of this week. So whether there's still information is being prepared and good to go before ACOA. And at this stage of the game, I'm not sure where that stands. It's still ongoing. Maybe I'll know more after Wednesday. So there's nothing new to report. So we'll move right into new business. The first item of business is request for decision number 29, which is the Credit Union Center exterior painting. That request for decision is before you, and I guess I would open, are there any questions that council have on what has been provided? This tender had gone out, and there were two tenders come in, and the recommendation is for spray net. If there's, go ahead, Councillor Mann.
No, thank you, Your Worship. Are they going to be going with the same color scheme, like the light tan on the top and the dark brown on the bottom, or has there been any artist renderings or any changes?
Mr. Baker, do you want to address it, or go ahead?
Well, I think what we had talked about was going with a light neutral color for the entire facility, and maybe having a discussion about whether or not we could place team logos on down one side of the rink and the Credit Union Center logo across the front. That's the discussions we've had. But
Deckling, right?
yeah, what did I say? Oh, their logos, yeah. So it will be the Wild Vipers, well, any primary users of the facility. Really, that's what we had talked about. But I don't think we've come to any sort of a final decision as far as that's concerned. So if anybody had any ideas or with respect to color, we'd certainly be open to taking that. I believe what we had talked about was like a light beige or a light gray or something along those lines.
I just know on the back wall too, it was put dark for the baseball because they couldn't see it was reflecting into the ball fields and stuff. So you may want to keep that in mind as well. So.
All right. Thanks, Councillor Mann. Councillor Glant.
Thank you, Your Worship. On that item as well. Personally, I'd like to see it as things be a little bit lighter, especially on the sides. But as to Councillor Mann's remarks, I actually had a couple of calls from from people involved with softball, or ball, I should say, I don't know if it was just softball, regarding the end of the rink, because they knew it was going to be done over. And it was painted dark, I think, back a few years ago due to reflection. So that's something we have to take into consideration. I certainly like to see the rink a little bit brighter looking on the sides compared to that dark brown that's been there. But maybe on one end of it, I don't know, maybe that's the place we could place logos. That might help. I don't know. Maybe Councillor Doucette, he's into the ball, and he'd have a better idea of how much the reflection or what color it would take. Does it have to be dark? But I know it would look maybe a little different if one end of the building was different than the rest. But at the same time, you want to protect people from maybe getting hit with the ball too.
Yeah, it's not something that I would have thought of, and it's a good point, and we'll take that under advisement as well. And I know it's made a big difference on the inside in the interior of the rink, painting the walls white. It's really brightened it up, and it's looking much brighter and lighter. Councillor Gallant, or Councillor Toombs, I mean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just clarifying, this is just for exterior, right? Because it says up in the top, the tender generally includes exterior painting of the credit union and internal steel framing, but this is just the exterior, right?
No, it does include...
This is both?
Yeah.
Because then down here it says the exterior painting tender closed Tuesday. So that's why I was just wondering, so this is both?
Do you want to do it, or do you want me to go ahead?
Well, no, that's just the name of the project is the Credit Union Center exterior painting, but it includes both the exterior painting and the internal painting of the beams. So a question whether or not to put that in the resolution, and it's like when we do a water and sewer project and there's asphalt reinstatement involved, we wouldn't necessarily say water and sewer and asphalt. We wouldn't necessarily include all parameters of the project within the resolution. That was the only reason I left it as is.
I was just going by just because the top and then the bottom just said the exterior painting tender closed, so I was just wondering if it was just one or if it was still all both.
When that tender included a provision to potentially add on or delete the interior painting of those beams should the price come in too high, correct?
Yeah, so we asked for a provisional pricing on the beam, so they were tendered separately within the same bid package. So we had the ability to remove it if we needed to. But the recommendation is that it stay within the exterior painting project, the beams in the exterior painting project, and that we do the entire thing. Yeah.
Any other questions, Council? Councillor Doucette.
Thanks, Your Worship. Yeah, just back to the color there. I know Mr. Baker commented on, I think, the light gray. I think it would be nice to kind of mix up personally, maybe get away from the beige. I don't know what the rest of you guys think, but and to speak on the ball thing, like Councillor Mann and Councillor Gallant both said, it's just you just kind of lose the ball in the lighter color. Just the darker ball just helps you pick it up, or the darker color just allows you to pick the ball up a little better. But, and then the second, your comments, the rink, I was in there the other day, it looks fantastic in there. Yeah, it looks really great.
Coming right along.
Yeah.
So, do we have any concerns with going with lighter color on three sides with darker color on the end towards the ball field? Is that kind of what I'm hearing? Deputy Mayor Spencer.
Thank you, Your Worship. I wondered if we did it in blue and yellow of credit union colors, if they'd be willing to contribute anything towards the painting.
What colors?
The blue and yellow the credit union use.
Oh, well,
if they would be willing to put anything towards it.
What if it's not them anymore? Their contract runs out in a few years' time, so I think we need to be thinking of not necessarily them. We'll take any money they want to throw at it, but maybe they'll put the logo on. We might talk to them about putting the logo on all along the front. That would be what we'd probably try to get them to do if we could at all. Councillor Gallant.
Thank you. Personally, in all due respect to the credit union, I'd like to stay with the lighter colors, with the exception of that end building,
And it's just the end wall too,
just
right?
the end
Not
wall next to the ball
Not the
fields.
north wall, just the end wall.
I meant the end wall, I said end building. The end wall next to to the ball diamonds. That's the one that causes, and I don't know if there's a color, a light color, that maybe maybe if you talk to the people that are doing the painting, obviously they'd be quite knowledgeable when it comes to that sort of stuff. Maybe they have an idea for that, a lighter color that wouldn't reflect, maybe it has to be dark, I'm not sure. But again, maybe the credit union would be interested in having some of their logos or something put on that end of the building, which would darken it up a little bit, just in that end of the building. But that's just a thought.
And if you recall, along the bottom of the front of the building, there's brickwork all along there, so there's going to be dark brown, I think it's brown, isn't it? Dark brown all along there, so then the lighter color would be above. And I think Mr. Baker, you mentioned like they're looking at beige or light gray or something like that, not a dark gray, something, a lighter color that if we put decals, of colorful decals in, they'll stand out against the background is kind of the thinking. And Deputy Mayor Spencer.
So just to clarify then, the brick is not being painted as part, the brick is not being painted as part of the project?
I believe it's included.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. I
'Cause
stand corrected.
Yeah, because then we could almost do a two-tone, the brick being a darker gray and the steel being a lighter gray or something.
Okay, I thought the brick was being left color of brick, but what do I know? All right. So is there's no real strong objections, we just kind of plan on moving forward the way we are right now, with a lighter color and with a darker color on the end to make sure we don't have an issue down there. All right, then we'll leave that with staff to deal with that one. What we need is read into the record the resolution to actually award the tender contract to SprayNet. Who wants to take that on? Councillor Toombs, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, did you have your hand? It's a matter of whose hand do I see first?
We don't want to fight over it.
No? He'll second it.
Be it resolved that Kensington Town Council award the contract for the Credit Union Center exterior painting project to SprayNet as per their tendered submission in the amount of $96,623, including HST.
Do you wish to second that, Councillor Doucette? Thank you, Councillor Doucette. All right, any further discussion, Council? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. We will move on now to the other tender, which is this Credit Union Center parking lot resurfacing. That tender information, or that request for decision information is before you. Are there any questions on the information that's being provided? It's recommended that the project go to Kern & Briggs. There are two bidders on that as well. Any Councillor Doucette?
Thanks, Your Worship. I know Councillor Mann mentioned this, I think, a while back too. Were we going to extend that parking lot into that grass area a little further towards the pond, or was this just to resurface the section we have now?
Mr. Baker?
The tendered price is to resurface just the section and the reason that is because the funding program won't cover new parking area. It'll just cover repaving the existing. So what we are doing, we left the fence replacement portion of that project out. So if we can negotiate with the successful contractor to wing out to certain areas, then we'll certainly do that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Councillor Toombs.
For the parking lot, are they going to grind it down or just go right over top?
Mr. Baker?
They're going to remove all the existing asphalt. They're going to regrade. They're going to fill in soft areas where required, and then they're going to lay down new asphalt.
So, yeah, okay, so they're not going to be grinding, they're just going to rip her up, okay. Because if they were grinding, sometimes you can get I know Robert sometimes can get a couple loads sometimes. He uses it around too, right? So, but if they're ripping it up, there'll be nothing like that.
Any other questions, Council? Councillor Gallant first.
Just on the paving, and not the parking lot itself, but why we're doing that, this is just something that was brought to my attention, and I agreed with the people that brought it forward, and I think I mentioned it last fall maybe, but anyway, there used to be and still is partially a paved area that goes from the street around the old ice surface and used to come into the rink, into the parking area between the house that's there. It's like a sidewalk or a paved area. And there is people that had said, well, we walk to the rink in the wintertime and we go all the way down around the old ice surface into the parking lot if we're walking in town here, and people going to the Fitplex. There's a number of people walk to the Fitplex as well. So I'm wondering when we're doing the parking lot, would it be possible to get that sidewalk or that walkway redone and around, and then next winter, obviously if we do that, then next winter we'd have to blow it and keep it clear so people could get there without, you know.
So have it wide enough. I don't know do you know how wide it is right now? Is it wide
Well,
enough?
it's probably only about 3 feet wide now,
Yeah,
but
so
we
it'd
could
have to be
probably go
made.
I'd say go 6 feet all the way in, and then something wide enough for the blower to get in, and then keep it open in the winter for pedestrians to use. And there is a number of people that walk to hockey games, and children as well, and a number of people who walk to Fitplex. So it's just it was there for a number of years, and then it just kind of got, for whatever reason, wasn't being used or wasn't being plowed in the winter, and people use it now because it's summer. But yeah, and I think part of it was actually covered up coming into the parking lot before, and maybe if we just keep it in close to the fence where it was before, and then and it's just you know, it's not a very long area, and then in the winter, as I said, we'd have to keep it clear. But might be a thought to put into it when we're doing the parking lot.
Can we leave that with Mr. Baker to see if there is funding sufficient to be able to do that, and we'll, if he can do it, he'll get it done? Is that all right with council? All right. Any other questions, council? Councilor Mann, I believe you had your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Worship. Just if we're tearing the whole parking lot up, I'm just wondering if we would be doing any provisions to put some conduit down to bring, maybe in the future, put some lighting on the other side of the parking lot where it's dark, because all the lighting is on the side of the building, and when you go over to the other side, you don't know where the ice is, you don't know where anything is, you just put your foot down and hope for the best. So I didn't know if we had it all tore up, what it would take just to put some conduit down and have it ready. So
Can I just ask a question on that too? It's not a bad idea, but I'm wondering if we were going to put some lighting over there, might we want to take a look at solar lighting that lights up with the solar technology now? Maybe you can get a light with a solar panel on top. I don't know what the options are, but anyway. Mr. Baker, you had something to say.
No, I was just going to say that there's certainly nothing included in the tender price for it. So if it's something we wanted to do, it would be in addition to the existing tender price. Same with the walkway, and same with expanding out if we can.
Since we have an electrician amongst us, I'm going to just ask a question. Is there technology with solar lighting for light poles like that it might? Is the technology there yet, or are we still a ways off for that kind of technology for LED lighting might suit?
I'm sure there is something there if you looked into it. I'm not sure on the brightness of or how much you could get out of it, but at this point the only kind of lighting I've seen is just kind of a small like luminaire type thing that might see at the end of the driveway, but it's something to look into for sure.
Yeah.
Not 100% sure.
Can we leave that then with Mr. Baker as well, to see whether it's something we might want to take a look at now, and if that's possible to do it now, or how it might be done? It probably require a lot more planning, so that the timing and planning of it may mean it doesn't get done now. Where are you going to put the lights? All right, any other questions, council? Deputy Mayor Spencer.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm just looking, so this resolution is suggesting that we remove the replacement of the fencing, am I correct?
No. Mm-hmm.
So we're recommending not reinstalling the fencing. So my question would be, this past winter we had one letter from a gentleman who was saying that the area we'd set aside for outdoor sports and that was being used for parking.
No, it will not be used for parking this winter.
But if we don't have fencing,
No,
we have.
it's fenced all around. The way they were getting in was the driveway.
Right.
Was the entrance. That will be closed off. You will not be able to
Okay.
park there this winter.
So then I guess the only other question would be, when people are playing sports on the old ice surface there, the fencing would probably protect cars that are parked in the parking area from the puck or the balls, that sort of thing. Now, would that would be able to get into the rest of the parking lot, would it? If we don't have fencing there?
The fencing that was in the thing was to replace all the fence around the whole area, the whole
Okay.
parking lot. That's what
Okay.
was in the, correct? It wasn't that little gateway, it was everything.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we will be leaving the existing fence around
Yes,
that
oh,
area
yes,
there.
yes.
I
yes.
thought we were taking that
Oh,
fencing
no,
out.
I'm sorry. No.
Okay.
Clarified.
Okay, thank you.
Good. All right, thanks. Any other questions, council? Hearing none, who wants to read into the record the resolution? Councillor Doucette, I think you didn't get to read the last one. We're saving the long ones for Councillor Mann. He's, well,
All right, thanks, Your Worship. Be it resolved that Kensington Town Council award the contract for the Credit Union Centre parking lot resurfacing to Curran and Briggs Limited as per their tender submission in the amount of $197,455, including HST.
and seconded by Councillor Toombs. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, council. All right, let's move right along to request for decision number 31, which is a development control bylaw and official plan amendment for rezoning PID number 747790. That information is before you, council. This is the second reading and formal adoption of the property on Barrett Street. Any questions? Any volunteers to read into the record the second resolution, second reading? Councillor Mann, you're ducking, so you're it.
All right, thank you, Your Worship. Whereas a request has been received from the owners of a property located along Barrett Street, PID number 747790, to rezone their property from its current single residential R1 zoning designation to multi-unit residential R3 to facilitate the construction of 2 4-unit residential buildings on the property. And whereas a public meeting to solicit comments feedback from the public was held on April 26, 2023 in accordance with the PEI Planning Act and the Town's Development Control Bylaw. And whereas town staff have evaluated the application in consultation with DVA Consulting and are recommending that town council proceed with the Development Control Bylaw amendment. And whereas the bylaw amendment was read, approved, and adopted a first time at a regular meeting of town council duly held on June 8, 2023. Be it resolved that Kensington Town Council gives second reading to amend the zoning and subdivision control bylaw to rezone PID number 747790 along Barrett Street from its current single residential R1 zoning designation to a multi-unit residential R3 to facilitate the construction of 2 4-unit residential buildings on the property.
Thank you, Councillor Mann. Do we have a seconder for that resolution? Seconded by Councillor Glant. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously that we give second reading. Now, Councillor Mann, would you like to read into the record the approval of the second reading?
Okay, I'm just questioning the date of that last meeting, June 8th.
Which date?
It says the town council, at a regular meeting of town council duly held on June the 8th. And today's only the 12th, so.
Yes, that should be May the 8th. That, we'll correct that to, the record will reflect May the 8th, council. Everybody okay with that? All right, the record will reflect May the 8th. So we'll
Okay.
correct that on the next reading.
Okay.
Go
All
ahead,
right,
Councillor
go ahead.
Mann.
Whereas a request has been received from the owners of a property located along Baird Street, PID number 747790, to rezone their property from its current single residential R1 zoning designation to multi-unit residential R3 to facilitate the construction of 2 4-unit residential buildings on the property. And whereas a public meeting to solicit comments, feedback from the public was held on April 26, 2023 in accordance with the PEI Planning Act and the Town's Development Control Bylaw. And whereas town staff have evaluated the application in consultation with DVA Consulting and are recommending that town council proceed with the Development Control Bylaw amendment. And whereas the bylaw amendment was read, approved, and adopted a first time at a regular meeting of town council duly held on May 8, 2023. And whereas the bylaw amendment was read a second time at this meeting, Be it resolved that Kensington Town Council formally approve and adopt second reading to amend the zoning and subdivision control bylaw to rezone PID number 747790 along Barrett Street from its current single residential R1 zoning designation to multi-unit residential R3 to facilitate the construction of 2 4-unit residential buildings on the property.
Thank you, Councillor Mann. Do we have a seconder for that resolution? Seconded by Councillor Glant. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Now, if we can read into the record the formal adoption with the noted change on May the 8th.
Whereas a request has been received from the owners of a property located along Baird Street, PID number 747790, to rezone their property from its current single residential R1 zoning designation to multi-unit residential R3 to facilitate the construction of 2 4-unit residential buildings on the property. And whereas a public meeting to solicit comments, feedback from the public was held on April 26, 2023 in accordance with the PEI Planning Act and the Town's Development Control Bylaw. And whereas town staff have evaluated the application in consultation with DVA Consulting and are recommending that Town Council proceed with the Development Control Bylaw amendment. And whereas the bylaw amendment was read, approved, and adopted a first time at a regular meeting of Town Council duly held on May 8, 2023. And whereas the bylaw amendment was read, approved, and adopted a second time at this meeting, be it resolved that Kensington Town Council formally adopt an amendment to the zoning and subdivision control bylaw to rezone PID number 747790 along Barrett Street from its current single residential R1 zoning designation to multi-unit residential R3 to facilitate the construction of 2 4-unit residential properties on the property, 2 residential buildings on the property.
Seconded by Councillor Glant. Any discussion? All those in favor? Oh, you have just a second question? Question from Deputy Mayor Spencer.
I was just curious if Ms. Parnham's suggestion, if this report has been provided to Mr. Woodside as well.
If
Ms. Parnham's report has been provided to...
Oh, yes, there's been lots of discussion going back and forth. Yes,
Right,
yes, sir.
where she has a suggestion of the mirror image, and if he
Yeah.
was
That's-
agreeable
yeah,
to the hearing.
That's been part of the whole process.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. All right, we'll move right along to request for decision number 32, which is a development permit application for the PEI crematorium. That information is before you, Council. Are there any questions? Hearing none. Who would like to read into the record? I didn't hear any name. It didn't. Deputy Mayor Spencer, go right ahead. Now, oh wait, now, am I in the right one? Hold on a second. Yes, I am now. All right, go ahead.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Spencer.
I move that Town Council approve a development permit application submitted by Todd Mose on behalf of PEI Crematorium for an addition to the existing building on a property located at 12 Gerald McCarville Drive, PID number 901694.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Glant. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. All right, the next one is, when we did the variance resolution for the island structural systems, we had it written in one spot one way, and we approved a motion the second way. So we have to rescind our motion that we approved and have a new motion before it can all go through. So request for decision number 33 is before you. So does everybody understand what we're talking about there? We're talking about rescinding the motion that we approved at our last council meeting, at the special council meeting, as a matter of fact, and rescinding it and changing it from the requirements for the front yard variance from 7.5 meters to 3.35 meters on the northeast side of the lot. And we want to say, as per plot plan S100 dated May the 3rd, 2023, to cover other questions that the developer has had. Any questions for clarification? Nothing different than what we talked about. It's just that the resolution did not reflect what we actually said. Go ahead, Mr. Baker.
The issue was the variance that was approved was to the nearest main wall, And so it didn't account for the foyer that comes off which is basically 2 pillars and a roof. And so we need the variance to come from those 2 pillars and the roof out to the property line, and not just the main wall. And yeah, I believe the fence, the issue with the fence was, I believe, in DV8's report. It didn't reference a fence on the north side of the property.
It referenced a fence 6 feet high on the east and the north side, when actually the drawing is a fence 14 feet high on the north side, not 6 feet high.
Right.
So it was, so one of the things that in all the correspondence, the developer had concerns that, well, DV8 Consulting recommended the 6-foot fence, but it was just an oversight on her part as well, and she's apologized for that. So we just if we reference, when we actually make the new resolution, if we actually reference that drawing, the drawing actually has a 14-foot fence, not a 6-foot fence. So that should clarify any legal technicalities. All right, any questions? Hearing none, who wants to read into the record the first resolution, which is the resolution to rescind the motion that we passed on May the 23rd at our special meeting? Deputy Mayor Spencer, go right ahead.
Be it resolved, the Town Council rescind the following resolution from the May 23rd, 2023 special meeting, approving a 1.7 meter variance request for Island Structural Systems. Whereas an application has been received from the prospective owner of lots 21-23, 21-22, 21-21, 21-20, and 21-19 within the new business park, POPID number 76406, for a variance on the front yard requirements for the property to facilitate the construction of their structural system manufacturing shop. And whereas the variance has been reviewed against the development control bylaw, the official plan is in consultation with DVA Consulting and is found to be in general compliance therewith. Be it resolved that Town Council approve a variance application from Island Structural Systems, being the prospective owner of lots 21-23, 21-22, 21-21, 21-20, and 21-19 within the new business park, POPID number 76406, to reduce the side yard requirement from 7.5 meters to 5.8 meters on the northeast side of the lot.
Do we have a seconder for that resolution? Seconded by Councillor Toombs. So this is to rescind the motion that we passed at the last meeting. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Okay, resolution number 2, Deputy Mayor Spencer, do you want to continue?
Sure. Whereas an application has been received from the prospective owner of lots 21-23, 21-22, 21-21, 21-20, and 21-19 within the new business park, POPID number 76406, for a variance on the front yard requirements for the property to facilitate the construction of their structural system manufacturing shop. And whereas the variance has been reviewed against the development control bylaw and the official plan in consultation with DVA Consulting and is found to be in general compliance therewith, be it resolved the Town Council approve a variance application from Island Structural Systems, being the prospective owner of lots 21-23, 21-22, 21-21, 21-20, and 21-19 within the new business park, POPID number 76406, to reduce the front yard requirement from 7.5 meters to 3.35 meters on the northeast side of the lot, as drawn on Plan S100, 2023.
May the 3rd, 2023.
Right.
All right, do we have a seconder for that resolution? Seconded by Councillor Toombs. Is everyone clear on what we're talking about here? All right, all those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Okay, we'll move right along to request for decision number 34. This is the Cycling Prince Edward Island Hop-On Schools and Community Program. That information is before you, and this is the one that Councillor Gallant, I guess, was asking questions about, and this is the one, Chief, you haven't seen it?
No, I haven't.
All right, because you haven't seen it, I'm going to read into the record the request for decision. A request has been received from Christy Karkner, Mose, of Cycling Prince Edward Island Hop-On Schools and Community Program for the town to consider sponsoring a community program that includes 5 weeks of instruction for 6 to 16-year-olds. Hop On is a games-based cycling program that teaches school-age kids across Canada the joys of cycling safely. Hop On is a national campaign to align youth cycling programs across Canada under a common umbrella delivered through Cycling Canada and Cycling Prince Edward Island. Bikes and helmets can be provided for youth who require them. Instructors will bring all other equipment needed to teach and challenge youth within the safety of their community. Attached to this request for decision are the initial ask from Ms. Mose of Cycling Prince Edward Island's Hop On Schools and Community Program, and an email containing additional information on the program and the town's requirement. So basically what they're going to do is they're going to bring staff here. They're asking the town to pay $1,000, and they will bring staff in for a 5-week program, and they will, I think I'm going to perhaps ask Kim Hazley to perhaps elaborate a little bit more on what they're going to do, if you could, since you're more knowledgeable than I am.
Sure. So Christy had reached out to the town, and they've ran this program in different provinces. She's been involved with it in, I think it was BC. So for $1,000, it's a 5-week program. It would see to, just in her other email here, it would accommodate 20 children for the $1,000, and then you could also go up to 30 with an additional instructor. The rink or schools are options for the location for the program to take place. Other than that, the town requirements are to essentially just advertise and try to get the kids into the program. They take care of all of the staffing and any requirements. So
I think it's a good chance to educate some of those kids around, and it's the age 6 to 16, which is probably the age group that you're probably having most of the problems with. So it's an opportunity to educate and train, and it doesn't require much more of the town other than what has been mentioned. We pay $1,000, and we provide a facility which could be at the rink or maybe at the schools, wherever it's most convenient at that particular time. And it runs for 5 weeks. And is there any questions, Council? Councillor Glant.
Thank you, Worship. I guess my one question would be, if they didn't get enough interest, say we only had 2 or 5 children interested, how do they go about, I guess, making sure they get 20? And is it possible to go to the 30 if there was enough interest, or is there more cost if they go to the 30?
I understand there's more cost to go beyond 20. If we want to go to another group, then I think it's another $1,000, is it? Or maybe it's depending on the timing. Go ahead, Kim.
Yep. So she just kind of indicated in her email that there would be additional cost for another instructor to join with to go from 20 to 30. She didn't indicate exactly what the price would be, and we haven't had a conversation on what it would look like if we didn't have 20 students. I would venture to say that we would probably have enough to fill the 20 spaces. Yeah.
Councillor Glenn.
Hey, great. I'm not want to give Christy. She's formerly from here, isn't she? Oh,
yes.
Yeah, thought that's who it was. Anyway, yeah. I think it would be good if we could educate 20 young people between the ages 6 and 16 to wear helmets. If that was the only thing they learned, I think it would be great. And I'm sure the police chief and his staff would, even be able to come up with, a number of children that could take the course. And I think it'd be worthwhile, even if we ended up saving one person from getting injured by making sure that they wear a helmet in the future. It'd be worth it.
Yeah, it's an investment of $1,000 on our behalf to try and educate and make sure bike safety is important in town. So it's a small amount for us to pay, I think, to try to promote that. And we've been talking about bicycle safety here, and the chief has the bicycle rodeo, and there's a lot of education takes place at that point. So are there any other questions, Council? Deputy Mayor Spencer?
Do we know of other communities who have run this program, and were they happy with the results of the program?
Kim, do you have an answer to that?
I haven't reached out to any of the communities that have done it, but Christy herself worked with the same organization in BC, so she's kind of bringing it to PEI based on her experience and the recommendation of how it went in her previous times doing it, so.
Any other questions, Council? Councillor Glant?
That was a good question, but I also think that it would be good to do, even if it gets Kensington on the map that we're trying to improve, or educate young people on how to operate their bicycles and wear helmets and so on. So I'd be willing to read into the motion.
Go ahead, Councillor Glant, if you want to read into the record the resolution.
The Kensington Town Council approves a sponsorship for the Cycling Prince Edward Islands Hop On Schools and Community Program in the amount of $1,000.
We have a seconded by Councillor Toombs. Any discussion, Council? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Okay, we're into other matters. We've already mentioned that the bike rodeo is coming up this Saturday for registration at 8:30, and everybody that can be there. We hope you are there. We also have the public consultation coming up on Monday, a week from tonight, at 6:30 at the Murray Center, and I hope that you can all be in attendance. I don't have any other matters to mention to you at this stage. Is anybody other? Councillor Glant.
Thank you, Worship. Just a couple of things here. Back a few weeks ago, there was a fire on Woodley Drive, I think it was. Yeah, it is Woodley Drive. A building in behind one of the homes there, belonging to one of those homes. Just had some neighbors inquiring about the possible cleanup of that building. I'm just wondering if that's going to take place.
Is that the one? I thought it's already been cleaned up, I think, hasn't it?
Oh,
The old garage that was back behind the house?
yeah, maybe it's got cleaned up.
It's already been
Okay.
cleaned up now.
Okay, I didn't know it was. Sorry about that. That was a couple of weeks ago, I think.
Okay, your mic's off there.
Okay, great. That's wonderful. That's how observing I am in the last couple of days. And the other issue I had, or not really an issue, just something we could look into. At the Kensington Fitplex, the entranceway, and I thought about it when we were doing the paving there. I'm wondering if, first of all, once the lot has been done, if that little windbreak or whatever it is when you're going into the Fitplex could be removed and have that paved right up to that door, where there's kind of cement and it's kind of rough there now. And then I'm wondering about, and I had some people that use the Fitplex also make the comment, if any of you ever go in there when it's raining out, you can hardly, if you got to open the door, it's basically water comes down and soaks you if it's raining. I don't know if the eaves trough of
Above the door?
Yeah, above the door, yeah. There's always dripping there when it's raining out.
Is there eaves trough above the door or not?
No, there wouldn't be eaves trough there because the rink runs like this. But I'm wondering if we could put more of a closed-in little entranceway there once the paving's done, with a proper roof that takes it right into the building, that the water don't get down there when people are coming in or going out. Just a thought, something to look into.
All right, Mr. Baker's got that on his list to see if there's anything we can do.
Thank you.
Anything else, Council? Hearing none, we'll move right along to correspondence then. Correspondence is before you. The first item on, hold on here. First item of correspondence is a request from the Royal Canadian Legion Branch Number 9 are formally requesting consideration of the rezoning property that they have up on School Street from green space to residential for multiple unit low-income housing. And I think all we need to do, we're not approving it, what we need to do is give Mr. Baker direction to deal with this issue, whether it goes to whether and when it goes to a public meeting, get DVA Consulting involved, and whether the property has to be subdivided, a portion subdivided off, or whatever. So I guess the question is, does council want to give direction to Mr. Baker to move forward with this? Because it's not making a decision to do it, it's making a decision to move forward. Yes, Councillor Toombs.
I'll give direction for that. Yeah, when I first saw this, like normally this stuff doesn't come in this part, right? You know what I mean? In correspondence, normally it comes in,
No, this would be the way it would normally get a
it
request.
would just come in
an e-
correspondence?
an
Because
email,
normally when
yeah.
people make a request, it's,
But it typically would come in an email or something like that.
Yeah.
And then most of the time, the ones I remember are an email request to consider it, and it comes forward for us to make a decision. Quite often it comes into committee of council.
oh, yeah.
But Councillor Glant, I think, had a question. Did you have a question, Councillor Glant, first? Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Just a couple of questions, and I mean, I'm all for putting it out there. I mean, it has to go to the proper procedure, and obviously would have to go to a public meeting, so on and so forth. And I'm just, that property, I know where it's at, and it comes, so the entrance for that, if they were to do that, would be coming off School Street, right?
Correct. That would be their plan.
Yeah, to come in there. And my other question is, obviously with, and I'm sure they're considering this as well, with their monument up there for veterans, would there be a distance that they'd have to keep it from that, or how does that work when they're talking about housing?
Those are all the things that have to,
Okay.
that's why we would go to DVA Consulting to take a look at what has to be done and whether it has to be subdivided off or it can be all on the same property. Those are the unanswered questions so this would be, all this does is kickstart the process. Correct, Mr. Baker? So, okay, is that?
Yeah, and just,
And I think they were, your mic's off there, but I think they were talking about their potential, they're looking at the potential of 10 units, I believe it was, is what they're interested. And for veterans is their first plan. So that's what they're looking at. And they're working with Provincial Command in Charlottetown, so it's in the process. Is that all? Okay. Councillor Doucette?
Thanks, Your Worship. Yeah, I'm just trying to get the understanding on where that is. So it's right beside the Kensington Seniors Co-op building,
Correct.
is it? And it will be adjacent to the roadway there? Possibly. Yeah, we don't, yeah. Okay, perfect.
Any other questions, council? So are we, do we want to give Mr. Baker direction to go ahead? So Councillor Toombs is moving that we give and seconded by Councillor Glant, that we give Mr. Baker direction to move forward with this request and to put into place whatever steps need to be put into place or checked. And I think Mr. Baker's got something to say.
Yeah, I just want to make sure everybody's clear. So what we'll do from this point is we'll take this request, we'll send it on to DV8 Consulting. She'll do her review of it, and she'll come back with a recommendation to proceed to a public meeting. And based on the approval given tonight, we'll go ahead and we'll check everybody's schedule to make sure everybody can make it and whatnot. But we'll go ahead with scheduling the public meeting based on her recommendation. If she says no, the application should be denied, we'll bring it back before council for further consideration. So we'll bring that report back to council.
And she may come back and say, yes, go to a public meeting, but you have to subdivide off a portion of it first and then go to a public meeting. So we got unanswered questions, so we're just getting moving forward. Any clarification needed at this stage? All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, council. The next is a request for the Kids Help Phone, and as everybody is aware, I think we are already contributing $600 a year to that program. So unless you're interested in increasing the amount, that information will be received for information. So, and we pay, I think we send $50 a month to that counselor to set that this decision was made, oh gosh, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. And unless you wanted to increase it or change it. Councillor Glant?
I'm good with status quo and just receive for information.
Thank you. And the next one is just a correspondence, just a letter from the Kensington North Watersheds Association thanking us for all the things that we had done. They had given us a list of items to address at the senior center, and they rent the basement area. And there were a list of items that they had given us, and they're just thanking us for doing it. And they appreciate the support that they're getting from the town. And the other one, yes, Councillor Glant?
Just, I'm not aware, who is the main person with the Kensington Watershed North now? Who is their main contact?
The president or the executive director?
Well, I guess whoever replaced Barry Murray, is that,
Oh, that's, is it Virginia Everett is the executive director, and, She goes by Ginny, and Amos Champion is the president. And the next is a letter from PEI Crime Stoppers thanking us for our $300 donation to the Crime Stoppers program. That's all the correspondence that I have, and I don't believe there's any others. So we'll receive those last two for information. And there is no committee of the whole required tonight, so at this stage of the game, unless there's something else that somebody has to bring before this committee or this town council meeting, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved by Councillor Toombs, seconded by Councillor Glant. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. We are adjourned at 8:11 p.m. Thank you, everyone.